Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we'll be continuing with the application thing, right? So we have done a bit of work so far. Now we'll be continuing with the application, all the right side stuff and all the thing, right? So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, if you see, this is basically, let's first complete this dashboard part. So right now it's only a button click me and all the other pages are generic page. So let's fix that. So if you see my application here, you will see there is a header here which opens a pop-up menu on clicking, and there is a dashboard thing, right? So let's first build the header for the right side page. Now, if you remember, the right side page has a base page component, so we'll be working here, right? Because uh, this can be a generic header here, so I can just say import. Now, what was the module name? Working with stack. Excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. Header will be simply a rectangle, or instead of rectangle, let us say row layout. Now, for layout, you have to import QT layouts. Now, sorry. Here you will say no need for spacing also. So left side will be a label. The uh, the text of the label will be let's say backend helper dot selected section something. Wait, how did I actually show the label here? Uh, okay. So from the backend helper, I can get a selected section, right? Uh, let's also create a method in backend helper to get the selected text, right? So let's make it Q invocable, and I'll say get selected string or text or something, right? Get selected name, and it will return a Q string, basically QT's string. So it will return the string, like whether it is dashboard or collection or statistics, whatever name is that, it will return, right? So right click here, excuse me, add definition in backend helper, and now we will be using this m underscore selected section. So we can say switch case, switch m underscore selection selected section case 0 return q string from std string, or simply just return in q string dashboard. So if it's 0, it's dashboard. Now you can say break, but after return, I think the next statements will not execute anyway. So case 1, so 0 is dashboard, 1 is collection. So I'll just breeze through it, right? I hope you're getting me. If the selected is 0, it's dashboard. If the selected is 1, it's collection. If selected is 2, it's statistics, and so on. So I'm just returning the string. Return q string collection, collection, and break case 2 return q string statistics, break. Actually, there is a better C++ way of, instead of writing break, I think there is an arrow method, right? Case 3 uh, actually I forgot that, but there should be a way of returning my post. You should Google it. Switch case. Let me Google it. Switch case without break. Actually, I have seen that. I don't know if it's there in C++ or not, but there is a way. I think with arrow or something. I forgot. So anyway, let's continue. My bad. I just written this Q string. Uh, but there is a, I think there is a way. I don't know in which C++ version or because I did that in other languages. So I'll modify this in my next video if I find that. So case 4 will be returning uh, after my posts admin panel, and that's it. Admin panel, and in any other case, so if it's default, I'll not be returning anything, so I'll just say return q string empty, so it will return empty, right? So this does it. So let me zoom out so if it's visible. So we are just returning the string and we'll be calling this method here. So in the base page, I'll say backend helper dot get selected name. Excuse me. That will be the label. So I set the label. Now let's set the color to white. Font dot point size 15. Font dot weight. Font dot demi bold. Now after row layout, I'll say item layout dot fill with true. After that, excuse me, rectangle. This T and a circle, right? This T and a circle. So rectangle. I'll say layout dot preferred width. Layout dot preferred because this is inside a row layout. So I'll say layout dot preferred width of let's say 24. Layout dot preferred height of let's say 24. Radius of let's say 12 because width by 2. Uh, border dot width 1. Border dot color white, and simple color, the color of the rectangle will be transparent. This should be our radius. Just a choice, my choice of styling. So inside the rectangle we'll add a text. I'll say color white, or just the text will be a font dot bold 2. Font dot point size of let's say 12, and font size is set. Anchors dot center in parent because this will be the center of the ring. Let's see if what we did is good enough for the header. Okay, so let it build. So this is in the extreme right. That is not what we desire. We want the header. Okay, so what we can do is we can say item. Header will be an item, and the height of the item will be let's say 70. Now the row layout will be anchors dot vertical center, parent dot vertical center, right? Indent properly. So yeah, so there is an item with height 70. Inside that there is a row layout in the vertical center, and the row layout has all these stuff, right? So I close the row layout, I close the item. Now I close the page. Yeah. So the color, yeah, I forgot the color of the text. The color should be also white. So FFF. Yeah. Otherwise that was not visible properly. Yeah, as you can see, this is an issue here because we set the header to be item. This also row layout also needs the width, right? Because by default it will not take the full width. This item will take the full width. So I'll say width, parent dot width, right? And or instead of that we can use margins. So I'll say anchors left, parent dot left, right parent dot right, left margin 15, 15, and vertical center thing. And font size of 16. This will be 32, 32. Radius of 16, because 32 divided by 2, so half of the width and half of the height. This will be also 13. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is still a bit small compared to what we actually desired. So let's fix that. (20), 40, 40, and 20. Anti-aliasing true, because if you see that the round border was a bit bad. Now I think this is good enough, right? So the A should be a bit larger, so I'll say 16. Yeah, as you can see, I think this is good enough, right? So yeah, as you can see, the header is set now. On hovering over it, we should add some effect here, right? So let's first add a mouse area. For this rectangle, we add a mouse area. Mouse area. ID will be profile mouse area, because this is basically signifying the profile. Anchors.fill parent, our enable true. Now, if profile mouse area dot contains mouse, the color will be white. Otherwise, the color will be the basic color of the background. Also add behavior on color. So here, after all of this, I'll add behavior on color, color animation, autofills by itself. But we only need the duration of 300 millisecond. Yeah. So now this color will also change. So if profile area dot contains mouse, the background is white, so this should be black. Otherwise, this should be white in color. Are you got me? If the background is white, then this should be black in color, so the text is visible. Just like this. If I hover over it, the text becomes black in color, right? So let's see. Yeah, as you can see. Yeah, let's change the A to T. Font.weight, font.demi bold. And let's add a cursor shape. Q dot pointing hand cursor. Let's see now. As you can see, this works properly. Now we'll add a menu after this. First, let's add the card and all this stuff, right? So for the dashboard page. So this part I think is good enough. Now let's work with the dashboard page. So instead of a button which says click me, let's add a rectangle. Let's see where this page starts, right? So let's see where the page starts. I'll say rectangle, anchors dot. Okay, so let's say width, parent dot width, parent dot width, height of let's say 20, color of let's say red, and let's see how the where this rectangle is showing. So we can adjust the card. So it's over here. So basically we need to start our cards from here, right, from here. So we need some spacing here. So let's add a column layout. So for column layout, you have to import Qt quick dot layouts. So we added column layout, right? Anchors.fill parent, anchors.margin. Margin. So group them together. Fill parent, margins. Let's add a generic, not generic. Let's add a left margin of let's say 40, right margin of let's say 40, top margin of let's say 70, and bottom margin of let's say 40. So instead of that, we could have also done this anchors dot margins 40 and then specific top margin of let's say 70. Yeah, this will be much better. Now in the column layout, first okay, so there is spacing of let's say 20. Now let's add a rectangle right now and let's see how the rectangle is positioned. So I'll say layout dot fill with true because this is inside a column layout. So we are using layout dot preferred height of let's say 40, color of let's say blue, and an item to eat the other area, right? So it's fill height 2. So the rectangle is pushed at the top, but there is top margin, so you'll see. Yeah, I think this is a good place to start the card, right? I hope you agree with me. So sorry. Sorry. Now this is a good place. Sorry guys, my throat is a bit rough today. So yeah, let's start the card now. Remove the rectangle thing, which was only for placeholder. So let me show you a grid view, a component called grid view in QML. You know stack view, you know list view. Now we'll be learning about grid view. So basically, this is a grid view, right? To show the items in a grid like this. Now, we can use the grid view to show the cards, these cards like aligned like that, right? So just like just like list view, it also needs a model and a delegate, right? So very simple thing. So we'll be using a grid view. So I'll say grid view. I'll say anchors dot horizontal center, parent dot horizontal center, and not anchors. I don't think it will be anchors because it is inside the layout. So it will be layout dot alignment, q dot align edge center, and then I'll say width. Now let's see if we can just a minute. Let me see all the methods for a grid view. There is some property called uniform cell width, uniform cell height. I hope this is available here. This should be available here. So it's not available there. So, okay, so what can we do? Just a minute, guys. We can provide a width and height, but I actually don't want that. I want the width and height to be based upon the inner contents width and height. But for now, let's go with the flow, right? So we'll say width layout dot fill with true, layout dot fill with true, layout dot fill height not true. So layout dot preferred height. Preferred height, okay, say 300. We'll fix this later. For now, just go with the flow. Now inside the grid view, we need some model and a delegate, right? Just like list view, there is a model and a delegate. So similarly, in a grid view, we have a model and a delegate. So let's provide a model. Now the model for the grid view will be this four items. So there is a text and there is a number. So we need a list model here. If you see, list model works perfectly fine here, right? So yeah, model works perfectly fine. Just give it an ID of grid model or card model, list element, and also give this an ID of, let's say, card grid view, because these are all cards. So for the list element, it will have a name, or let's say here I'll say card name. So it will be today's, or let's say, yeah, let's say today's interactions. Actually, I was doing this for my own website, but yeah, let's keep the name same as it is, and value, or let's say card value 300. Now copy this 4 times. So instead of today's interactions, the other will be this week, this month, this year. So I'll say this week, this month, this year. The value can be any random value, like this. Yeah. So now we have the model. We'll be using the model here, and the delegate. So delegate I'll be using here. Card grid delegate, which will be a rectangle. Now here we have to give some width and height. So I'll say width. Let's give it a width of, for now, let's give it a width of 200. Height of, let's say, the width will be very large, height will be small. So height of 100. Color of the grid will be whatever color this is. Let me choose a color picker to see what color this is. 1B, 1B, 1B. Okay, so color will be that. And radius will be 10. Now inside the rectangle, at the extreme top left, we have an image and a text, and in the extreme center, we have a thing, right? So for the top left, we'll be using a row layout. Row layout for the top left, right? So here this will be an image. So here I'll say width, parent.width. Yeah, and it exactly starts from the top left. So I'll say, instead of width, parent.width, I'll just do this. Anchors, left, parent.left, right, parent.right, top, parent.top, left margin of, let's say, 10, right margin, let's say 10, and top margin, because it's also from the top, so let's say 15, because this is also from the top, so let's say 50. And here we have an image, and after the image we have a text. So let's give it a spacing of, let's say, 5, which is by default. We by default have a spacing of 5. So image will be layout dot preferred height 24, not 24 is too large, 16, layout dot preferred width, also 16. Source will be click.svg, and fill mode will be image.preserve aspect fit, whichever suits you best, you can choose that. After image we have a text, and for that we need required properties here. So I'll say required property. One is string, one is number, right? So string is card name, and required property int card value, right? So let's give it an ID of card grid rectangle, right? So I'll say the text will be the card grid rectangle dot card name, and the color of the text will be let's say gray, so it's something like 777. Font dot point size will be 12. Font dot weight will be font dot normal, not normal, let's make it demi mode. Let's reduce the point size, and so this is the top left. Now in the extreme center there is also a text, right, for the number. So again I'll say text, and this will simply be anchors dot center in parent. The text value will be let's say card grid rectangle dot card value. Color will be pure white, and font dot point size will be 15. Font dot weight will be font dot demi bold. Let's see now. Excuse me. Okay, so no card is visible. Why is that? Okay, so I did not provide any delegate. My bad. Delegate will be card grid delegate. Let's see now. Okay, so the width was too low. We should have fixed that. Uh, let's do this. Rows. So instead of grid view, we could have used a grid layout, honestly. So there is cell width and cell height. Yeah. Just a minute, guys. There is also grid layout in QML. I actually got confused between the two. But yeah, let's go with grid view instead of grid layout, because we have specified the model. So for if you have a model prepared, so grid view is the way to go. So instead of providing the width and height here, let's provide the width and height here. Cell width of let's say 300, cell height of let's say 150. Is there spacing here? There has to be some spacing, right? Let me find. So there is no spacing. I don't know why. Okay. So this is slow. Uh, let's just see for now what happens. Okay. So uh, this thing is not actually that useful. We have to provide width and height here. Let's give some width and height of let's say 300 and 150. Sorry guys, if I have to, I'm just using grid view after a long time. I forgot myself. So there is no spacing here. cell height. I think now this should work properly. So this is getting some width and height, but the issue is it's not in the center and there is no spacing or gap here. So there should be some gap, right? Because how can we some gap or spacing? Just a minute. There is no spacing. There should be some gap. Okay. Let me take some time, guys, and see if there is some gap or property here. Uh, or we could have done one thing. We could have just increased this to 320 and cell height to 170, and then I think this could have accounted for a gap. And as you can see, this accounted for a gap. But this is just a patch way of doing things. Hmm. Let me stop the video now, guys. I'll just look into it and create a new video. Others will be wasting your time. But yeah, we'll be working on this. Don't worry.